But I also knew that it would probably be a wise one if Bob chose to do this for me, because he doesn't get paid for Star Bar. And he did. He chose to do it. We went up into the mountains, me and Caleb Cohart, who couldn't be here tonight. And he had to bring his oxygen with him, and we filmed a very, very long day to do one scene of 10 minutes. It's a lot of filming to do in one day. And about 3 in the afternoon, about all you would hear in between every take was, "Can we hurry this up? I'm dying!" I just need one more shot. I'm dying! I'm going to move this along now. Bob is dying. It was all absolutely wonderful. And of course he was joking and stuff, but it was just that great, irascible man. There are lots and lots of other stories I could tell in just the short time that I knew him. But he was a special actor and a special man, and I will never forget him.
Well, like Beth, I'm a big baby too, so hang in there. I moved here in '87, or rather, actually, late '86, and one day I opened the newspaper, and on the front of the Go was this beautiful picture of Bob Pinney, and it was a big article about him. And it mentioned that he was going to direct Rose Tattoo for Star Bar Players. And I said, I am going to work for this man. So, I auditioned for Bob Pinney, and he cast me as Serafina in Rose Tattoo. I've been on stage off and on for nearly 50 years. And it wasn't until Bob Pinney cast me and directed me that I really wanted to become an actress. I dyed my hair black. He said he wanted a commitment. He didn't mean dye my hair black. He had a wig for it. But that's how strongly I felt about working for this man, about giving him everything I had. 100 notes a night is what turned me into a woman who wanted to do her best for her audience and for Bob Pinney. He only directed me one more time in For the Misbegotten. That was an incredible experience. So because of him, I am who I am. Thank you.
Hi. I first met Bob, I don't know, 84, 85. He directed Iceman Cometh. That's when I got to work with the finest people I've ever met in my life. Mr. Madison here and Mr. Penn. And, you know, it's a huge play, millions of guys in it. And I'm Moran. I come in the last 5 minutes, I arrest him and I'm gone. So I go to rehearsals, I'm going, after a while I'm going, come on, we're not even doing this. Why do I have to be here? He's going, Joe, you're understudying all of these guys. There's 15 guys in the show. He says, so every rehearsal, I'm reading for 3/4. So it was quite an experience because the fact that he put some trust and faith in me. He could rely on me no matter what it was I was going to have to do. And I remember complaining, and he was going, what's your problem? And I'm going, well, I was still a bit of a dilettante. I'd only done a couple of shows, and I had gotten good roles out of big parts, and this was a little part, and I thought it was demeaning. And he's going, yeah, the play isn't over until you show up and arrest him, so it is important. It's like that. He cut right through it, and I was going, okay. I'm pretty much willing to do whatever he wanted me to. And going to miss him a lot. I'm sure we all will.
Hey, Bob, there's something I remember. I want you to know that. You and I had the privilege of first appearing with you in the last production by Colorado Springs Music Theater, Damn Yankees. Then my next show, you directed, Rose Tattoo. And that's when the Friends Network began to grow. Bob, you're a common denominator here today. We're all here because of you. The next thing that you did for me was, gotta remember this, the Cuglins. You directed me in that, and that's always been one of the most enjoyable experiences I've ever had. And last but certainly not least, Bob, I want to thank you for the opportunity in Henry V as Duke of Gloucester against the Duke of Burgundy and all your highfalutin good buddies. I had a unique scene with you that I don't think anybody else here has ever had. And that is, I got to chew your ass out and you didn't have a single thing to say. So take it easy, Bob, but take it.
Had a lot of actors come up here, and I think it's time for a technician to say something about Bob. First show, I've worked about 20 shows in the last 4 or 5 years, Star Bar Players, stuff. And first show I did was with him when I was stage manager for Pinney Churches. And after working with Bob, he specifically let me know that he is the biggest prima donna that you'll ever meet in your life. And leave it to Bob to be right about something. But he was wonderful to work with. He definitely had, he's always had problems with the lines, but you would never know. You would never know about it. So, being tech backstage, I'm yelling the lines, no, you have to stay now, do this. And he's like, oh, and he was no problems, no this, no that. You give him a prop, you can only give him so many props before you're like, you can't come back over here, you gotta go. He was wonderful in terms of that. And then 2 years later, we had to find a part for him. I had actually auditioned for a show, and he was in on Not Rapping For. And with Bob, he was really hard with lines. So opening night, he came with the script in hand. He was still better than any of us could ever be with script in hand. He was fantastic. But the cool thing I enjoyed about it is that I was playing a bully, so I get to beat him up on stage. And I got to tell all my friends about it too. It's like, guess who I get to beat up on stage? An 80-year-old man. They're like, Bob Pinney? I'm like, he's not that old, come on. But sadly, we actually did beat him up on stage. Brantley Scott Haynes, who you might also know, and myself, I started it where I threw him to the ground, he hit his knee. He got really nervous because I'm a big guy and so forth, and then Brantley Scott finished him off. The next day, I didn't see it, but according to Dave Kleinbeck, who was the director, his whole leg was blue from the drugs he was taking for clotting and that, and his foot was black. And so he said, I might be able to do 1 or 2 more shows, and we're like, are you insane? So anyway, working with Bob was definitely a pain, but it was also a wonder, and my favorite show to this day is still Paying Churches, and it's a lot due to him. So he was a wonderful guy, and prima donna at the same time. I didn't know Bob particularly well. I only did the 1 show with him, which was King Lear, and I guess he didn't really have much in the way of notes for me. I think he told me I had a nice voice once, so I guess I was lucky there. But what I remember most about that entire run is, I believe we were in Trinidad at the time. If I remember right, it was like the second to last show.